Yeah, I remember as a kid at 7 years old, watching my dad and his mates go to Bathurst. Obviously after, 20 years and I was able to go myself, I understood why I couldn't go back when I was 7 years old. First V8 was the Wagon. Back in '95, continued to build it since then. We used it for everything. It was our daily driver. I was using it to go to work and back. Carting painting gear when I was a painter, because I'm a painter by trade. We're turning box trailers up behind it, and it got used for absolutely everything. We used it to go to Bathurst. We just parked in the scrub, opened the tailgate and slept in the Wagon for the weekend, had a ball. We ended up building a motor, a 304 VN headed thing for it. Remember a mate going, oh, you're going to go in the Burnout comp with Sump-Nats, and I've never done a Burnout in the street. Went to Sump-Nats, first Burnout. I remember I was absolutely packing myself, seeing this massive crowd. Turned around and hit the throttle, forgot about the crowd, blew the tyres off the thing, drove out, and thought, that's it. I didn't win the comp, but I felt like I won, and that was it. And I've been every year since, like haven't stopped. We've done Burnouts for a while, and then I was also doing a bit of drag racing as well. We put nitrous on that same 304 that we had in it. We went as quick as 1095. So we ended up buying a Tirana that was more suited to racing. And then a few years later, when I did smash that car, I decided to put the Wagon back together as an event car, and it ended up becoming the car that we always dreamed about, the blown injected tub beast that is these days. Here's my Wagon, TUFFST. We've basically got a 377 cube small-block Chev. Runs about 1,000 horsepower, sort of safe tune. We're running an 871 blower shot blower, non-Teflon, with an Enderley injector hat, 3-stage dry sump system, and also run a MSD magneto system. And also run a race pack data logger. With all the sensors we have on the engine, we can find out why something went wrong or how something went wrong, and sort of hopefully try to fix it and make it not happen again. Behind the motor, we've got a stall converter. It's about a 4,500 stall, 2-speed power glide. Now, it's basically a drag spec style power glide, so it's capable of handling 1,200 horsepower, not because I needed it, but more because I didn't want to have to keep repairing gearboxes. One of the things that a lot of people sort of misconstrue with Burnouts is that we need power to make tyre smoke. It's not the case at all. Basically, from here down to the top of the motor is basically all about the looks. We can make 500 horsepower and destroy a set of tyres, that's not a problem. These things detuned will probably still run about 800 to 1,000 horsepower on most cars. We only sort of try to do it what we need, to try not destroy the engines. But it's all about the look, being angry, being tougher, and yeah, it's also more fun. I'll probably do about 80% of the work of the car myself. The main part that I don't do is the engines itself. Paintwork obviously gets passed out as well, so that's part of that 20% that we don't do. Everything else gets done in-house at home. The car's pretty easy to service and maintain. We'll physically put the engine in and out, take the blower on and off, and I'll actually set the nitro barrel valve on the alcohol setting, handle the tune side of it, put all the hoses on, all the wiring and stuff that needs to go on there, and everything except for the actual engine assembly itself. Over the years, we've won pretty much everything we could possibly win. Big ones that I chased for like 7 or 8 years was TUFFST at Sump-Nats. That was the big one that I really wanted to win. And that was a pretty emotional sort of thing. Like, you get choked up when you think about when you chase something for so long, and to actually finally win it, it was sort of like, it was a pretty cool thing. It's won plenty of awards over time and it's filled plenty of boxes in the back barn. So hard to explain to somebody what the attraction to a Burnout is, but once you've done one, then you understand. It's a bit like drag racing in that respect too. Once you've done a big wheel stand and the car's gone super quick and you come back and it's all fun, but when you drive a car and you're pushing the engine to its limits, your driving skills to the limits, and then obviously the tyres until there is no more limits. Yeah, once you drive off on rims, you can't extract. It's just, I don't know, it's like a feeling of success, but also like a release. It's a judged sport. You've got the horsepower of drag racing, but then you've got the judging aspect of it, of drifting. Burnouts are basically judged on the five criteria. So you've got instant smoke and constant smoke, which are your two big ones. And then you've got driver control, blowing your tyres, which actually gives you points as well, and also driving off the pad, because if you don't drive off the pad, you haven't finished, have you? Different judges judge it differently as well. Like, say, some guys will do slower burnout, some guys do a faster burnout. I've always been partial to a faster burnout and the biggest speed tip-ins and stuff, which excites the crowd. You've got to be ultra committed. If you're not committed, it can get real real bad, real quick. There's some concrete walls that aren't very forgiving. Pretty much everyone in the burnout scenes have had an accident of some sort. I had my first one this year at Summer Nats. It's the first time in 15 years I've actually hit a wall. There's always going to be some sort of fire, and whether it's a small engine fire or a big tyre fire. The safety crew and the fireys are there, and because we're not going fast and we're flying down a track, we're still pretty much in a stagnant area. The fireys have got time to get to us and make sure that we are safe. So it's not too dangerous, but it's still spectacular. Burnouts have grown in the last 15, 20 years. It's unbelievable. Like, when I first started doing burnouts, most of the guys were just aspirated street cars. That's basically what they were. They weren't purpose built, where now they're all purpose built. It's gone tenfold. Like, the crowds are huge. You go to events at Sydney, most of the burnout events at Sydney now are getting more crowds than most of the drag meetings in there. A lot of people ask us what the difference is in burnouts between, you know, some guy doing a burnout in his dad's V6 Commodore on the street and what we do on the burnout pad. We don't even waste our time doing it on the street. Nowadays, there's an event on pretty much every weekend. If you're prepared to travel, you can go anywhere in Australia and skid. We get our fun on the pad. So that's the difference between the hoon guys and the guys that actually do it as a serious competitor and actually a recognised burnout competitor. Probably one of the biggest things about burnouts is the social aspects of it. The whole car scene is just all life. It's a lifestyle. There's no, you know, your best friends, your family, you know, like even when we go to weddings and christenings and stuff like that now, it's all the car guys. It's their kids. It's, you know, we're watching their daughters get married and stuff like that. Our family holidays are the trips that we go away for burnout comps, basically. A lot of people have said to us, basically, yeah, well, what do you do for your hobby? Oh, you got a car and that's your hobby. It's like, that's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. Everything we do pretty much revolves around what we do. Never had a holiday without a car event.